Hello Year 10 students, parents and caregivers. My name is Miss Brownlee and I'm in charge of the language faculty at Gosford High School. This video will give you important information about the Year 11 and 12 French beginners, Japanese beginners and Spanish beginners courses. Our students often ask who studies languages for the HSC, what kind of student? Are they humanities students? Are they science students? And in fact, it's everyone. It's a 50-50 split according to NESA statistics, looking at patterns of study for the HSC, and we have students who do music, art, drama, 4-unit maths, physics, chemistry, anything and everything. It is an absolutely diverse group of students. Languages are a skill for everyone. All major universities, in fact, now allow for students to add a certificate or a diploma of languages to whatever their main degree is, whether it's law, media, philosophy, whatever, in recognition of the importance of language skills in all career areas. Language study at HSC level also attracts ATAR bonus points for most universities. HSC study also allows you to skip between 1 to 2 years of university in that language, letting you streamline your language studies or achieve a higher level of proficiency by getting to the higher level courses sooner. In Year 12 at Gosford High School, Year 11 and 12, approximately 50 students in each year group are studying either French, Japanese or Spanish. Languages can take you anywhere. Australian students study languages for a variety of different reasons, and our students have also recorded some videos, also available on the school website, explaining their choices and experiences in language study, so please check them out. Sometimes people think that Google Translate means we no longer need to learn another language. However, just like the calculator didn't mean we stopped learning maths, it's still incredibly important to learn other languages because the message is not always in what they are saying, but how they are saying it, their choice of words, translating expressions that don't translate literally, and having a connection with other people. Google Translate creates barriers. It's good in a pinch, but it's not going to have the same ability to connect with people around the world as being able to speak to them in their own language will. Students also often ask us when the best time is to learn a language. Of course, the earlier the better for pronunciation and a native-like accent, but adults can learn a language to fluency as well as children. Time and commitment are required. All the things that say you can learn French in 2 weeks or Japanese in 5 minutes a day are really just lying. And learning a language during high school is really when you have the most time available. It's also the only time it's going to be free. To get the equivalent of the beginner's course hours of study at Alliance Française or the Japan Foundation would cost you about $5,000. University degrees, of course, cost time and money as well, and school study alone of a beginner's level course is not going to be professionally fluent. However, it does give you a good head start and greatly reduces the additional time, cost and commitment needed later. I was a university lecturer in Japanese for 5 years at Macquarie University, and I found the students who were most successful in language study at university had already done a language in high school. Whether it was the same language or a different one, they had the skills and experience needed to succeed at university. So now is the best time. And if you're thinking about university study overseas, for example Harvard, many universities require foreign language study in your high school subjects, and this is not negotiable. For example, in the case of Harvard, if you haven't done 2 years of foreign language, you cannot get in. More languages lead to more opportunities. 62% of adult Australians wish they had learnt another language growing up. It's often something that people regret later in life. Other languages give you the chance to see the world from a different viewpoint, learn about other cultures and become a global citizen. You can enjoy travelling more by being able to understand the language and also save money. And given that 90% of Europeans think being able to speak foreign languages is useful, and over half can have a conversation in at least one additional language, many in 2 or 3 beyond their native language, it's important to consider the global job market and how competitive speaking English alone really is. The level of achievement that you can reach through beginners language courses is approximately a A2 on the CEFR scale. So the beginners course has 240 hours of study available, and that's approximately, for motivated students, which all of you are, going to get you to A2. What does A2 actually mean? It's a high beginner level leading into the early intermediate level of language study. So C2 is the holy grail, as I've named it, and that's for postgraduate study in your own language or in another language. So that's a level that native speakers do not always reach in their own language either. So here you can see that A2, or getting into B1, is the level that you'll be able to reach through doing the beginner's course, depending on just how much effort you put in. So you really can get to quite a high level starting from scratch. You can pause here to read it in more detail. What does it actually sound like? You can use these QR codes or go to the NESA website to hear what the listening comprehension audio sounds like for the exams for French, Japanese and Spanish. You can also listen to an example of somebody who got band 5, 6 on the cutoff line in French, Japanese and Spanish. Unfortunately, NESA doesn't provide an example of 20 out of 20, but you can get a good idea of the level of fluency that you'll be able to achieve. And it's not just about the language. Research shows that learning another language can improve lots of other skills, and these are all things that generalize and can help you in all other subject areas. Job opportunities are really anything and everything. It's certainly not just teaching, translation and tourism. So the courses that we offer are French, Japanese and Spanish for beginners. If you have been studying Japanese and French in Year 9 and 10, you are not eligible to do these courses. If you speak French, Japanese or Spanish at home, you are not eligible to do these courses. So in Stage 4, everyone studied 100 hours of one language. Now, for the beginner's course, that's fine. You can continue to, if you did Japanese in Year 8, you can do Japanese for the beginner's course. If you did Japanese in Year 8, you could do French for the beginner's course. There is no prior knowledge expected. You can have some prior knowledge from up to 100 hours of study, or you can have nothing, but you can't have more than that. So if you have done Year 9 and 10, if you're a native speaker, you cannot come into this course to keep the playing field level. So beginners languages at Gosford High School have a very, very strong history of success. We have consistently very high band 5 and 6 results, and many of our students continue their studies at university. Particularly in French beginners, we've had multiple first in state achievements over the years, and we often achieve in the top 5 state rankings. For example, we came first in the state in 2019 and second and fifth in 2020. Our Japanese beginner students also regularly achieve results higher than 95. This is our first year for the HSC in Spanish, so we anticipate they will also achieve similarly good results, but we don't have that data yet. We have passionate teachers who have in-country experience and HSC marking and examining to ensure our students have all of the opportunities possible. And we try to give students authentic opportunities to interact with native speakers where we can. COVID obviously has made that very difficult in the last few years, but we aim to offer immersion workshops and excursions and HSC preparation workshops, as well as interacting through pen pal exchanges or video conferencing and exchange visits where possible. So as I have said, who should choose beginners? It's for students who studied the language for 100 hours or less and have no experience outside the classroom. There is a requirement for statutory declarations and principal approval to make sure that it's a level playing field, and that applies across the state. So all the beginners courses have the same content, so I'm going to talk about them collectively. They're all 2-unit Category A ATAR courses. They cover personal and practical topics. There are no essays, research tasks, major works or portfolios. It's very similar to what you would have done in Year 8. It's a gradual process of learning along the way. You are allowed to use dictionaries, even in the HSC, so you don't have to learn every word imaginable in Japanese, French or Spanish. And if you already speak another language, perhaps you're already doing a different language for Year 9 and 10, or you speak another language at home, you've already got language skills that will help you be very successful. But that's not required. So the Stage 6 beginners course topics are the same for all 3 beginners courses that we offer. So we talk about family life, home and neighbourhood, people, places and communities, education and work, friends, recreation and pastimes, holidays, travel and tourism, and future plans and aspirations. So they're the topics that you'll be able to speak about, write about, read and listen to in the language that you choose by the end of the HSC. So we do have those set topics, but they're also quite broad, and we have the freedom to decide on which sequence and how long we're going to spend on them, and what kind of assessment tasks. So there is quite a lot of flexibility for our HSC courses compared to other subject areas. And we really encourage students to reflect on their learning and develop effective strategies to manage their time and develop their study skills. Sample topics for French beginners in a little bit more detail. So I'm not going to read through this, but you can pause and have a little bit of a look at what we cover in more detail for each of those topic areas, if you like. The internal assessment is set by NESA. We don't get to change this or choose this. So it's 30% for listening and reading and 20% for speaking and writing. And that's the same for Year 11 and for the HSC. The HSC external exam is 2 hours and 40 minutes and consists of 80 marks of listening, reading and writing and 20 marks for the oral exam, which is only 5 minutes. And it's a conversation with an external examiner. The 2017 exam, for example, this is just a transcript from the listening. So the question that they get asked is, explain why the principal is going to ring Daniel's parents. And the conversation says, principal, the new student's crying and doesn't want to come to class. Oh, why is that? Because Daniel took her wallet. Okay, I'll talk to him. Where is he? Oh, we don't know where he is. The students say he's left the school. Okay, we have to go find him. I'll phone his parents and I'm going to also talk to the new student. Okay, thank you. So the principal's going to ring Daniel's parents because he's been a very naughty boy and stole the new student's wallet and made her cry and has, gone and left the school premises. So that's the kind of content that you'll be able to understand. It's a French example, but Spanish and Japanese are quite similar. Again, a French example. So in terms of the writing, you don't have to write anything longer than 125 words. That's the longest writing task there is, so you don't have to write, 5-6 page essays, and they're short, practical topics. Write a message inviting a new student at your school to go out with you next Sunday. You and your friend want to go camping, write an email to convince your friend that this camping site is ideal. So they are things that are relevant to your everyday life or lived experience or something that you could easily imagine, taking place. So French, why French? French is the second most widely studied language in Australia and the official language of 29 countries across Europe, Africa, North America and Oceania, and in fact it's predicted to be the most widely spoken global language by 2050. Now I'm not going to read through all of these facts and figures around trade, but just keep in mind that this is just for France. There are 28 more countries where French is spoken that I haven't included here, so there are an awful lot of opportunities for using French globally. Here are some French companies that you may be familiar with who have an international presence in Australia and globally, and they reflect the wide variety of careers and industries in which you could have a career that uses French. For Japanese is a very widely studied language in Australia. In fact, it's the most popular language that we teach, with 300,000 students studying Japanese annually across the country. And Australia has the 4th highest number of Japanese language learners worldwide, behind China, Korea and Indonesia, reflecting our geographical location. So Japan is a very, very popular destination for employment, tourism, and a very important partner still for trade. So there are just some reasons for why Japanese might be relevant. And again, here you can see some very, very well-known global brands that are Japanese. Some of them maybe you knew were Japanese, some of them perhaps you didn't. And again, it reflects a wide variety of industries where Japanese skills could be an asset. Me, for example, when I was in high school, I received a scholarship from Sony to go and live in Japan for a year on exchange and got to meet the CEO and write newsletters for them for a year. So you just never know what opportunities are out there if you just, see what is, try new things and see what happens. Spanish, like French, is spoken in many different countries and is currently the 3rd most widely spoken language in the world. And when measured by native speakers, it ranks ahead of English. So there are Spanish speakers in 21 different countries, each with their own history, culture, and unique attractions. It's an international language of politics, economics, and culture, like French, and is quite a widely spoken community language in Australia. So it can be used here as well as overseas, like French and Japanese as well. So lots of reasons to choose French, Japanese, and Spanish. Here again, you can see some well-known Spanish brands that you might be familiar with. Some of them perhaps you won't be. I think we all know Chupa Chups. And so there are many opportunities in fashion, food, technology, and what have you for using your Spanish skills. Student voices from past Year 12. I'm not going to read through these, but you can pause and play as you wish to continue. So 60% of the global population speak more than one language. Is that going to include you? We look forward to seeing you in Year 11 beginners classes next year. And if you have any further questions or queries, please come and speak with me or the other languages staff. Thank you.